Hello, welcome. Dirt Son of Earth here. So, I want to do something that I actually started a couple weeks ago on my Instagram account at art.o.dirt. I ran a poll asking people to choose from four different books. I don't remember what they were now, but I know which book won, and it was The Sane Society from Erich Fromm, member of the Frankfurt School. So, what I want to do with this is called poetry painting, or that's what I call it. I'm sure there's people out there doing it, calling it different things. It doesn't matter what you call it. This is something I do a lot at open mic nights, or if I'm just kind of bored throughout the day or like looking for a little bit of inspiration. It's a really fun process where you try to basically do like a cut and paste poem out of a book, but without cutting it or pasting it. So unless you record it, it's almost a one-time thing, but little bits stick in there. So like I said, I like doing this at open mic nights, and I also really like doing this as just a creative exercise. Sometimes I'll get little bits of pieces from one of these books that I will use and build a whole poem around, or like kind of change it up a little bit. Really versatile object. Get your juices flowing. So I'm just gonna flip through here and create a poem. Let's see. Let's a little bit about the book. The Sane Society was copyrighted in 1955. Um, and it's, a combination of psychoanalysis and socioanalysis, as the little quote from Paul Tillich says. So, the poetry picting of a sane society. Are we sane? Accept himself these psychiatric fashions, fitting in self-defense, God, common people, living what were like 100 years ago, unreasonable mismanagement, restricted economic systems, pathology of normalcy. Working hours about half the picture divided by a society, whole television, radio, everybody, particularly contemporary. If 17.7% of all rejected problems are suicide's lowest incidences, Europe motivates homicides less effectively. I'm indicative of this direction. Set aside a world of hospitals, mental health in populations, the rate of mental imbalance. Prove something. A problem indicates consensual validation. Human nature transforms. Conventionally, defeated unsatisfactory solutions, achieved environmental factors. I found them to be at home again with destruction, essential point of a mother food between child, yet severance is frightening. By no means another mature adult, first of a child's life, alternating between positive aspects of attachment and pointing out again the negative fatherly function. Male sperm, existence and security, father's love for son, not like the other children, the point of life, his point of life, mental health, I define maturity. Freud asked, security? Cope with this exceeding buying into a coaxed import stock interest. Proportion held, economic but human social role of the factory, disappearance of feudalism, mid 20th century capitalism, working class economically industrial groups, 100,000 talking tendencies. Nobody has the right to be exploited. Commands because a general tendency, abstractifying personal attitude. It came from God, at least God's coming, God's automobile, God's manufacturer, manifestations. In order to indicate the New York Times centuries before this fixed position, worshiping an idol of capacity, self-alienation himself, Calvinism, Protestants, experience, love human biology, love human reason, radiate the works of eyes. They have them, like everyone else. Trust in this collective self person who is mainly motivated by this hands they have built, forcing himself to be a human being. What happened to the worker? Though being balked, worker apathy, richness, suicide books suffice to become invested in others. Comparison of striving. Money idols a young educated formality. The transients have become to deify society, a melting pot of equilibrium maintained. This magic flute democrat social adjustment, children lack discipline. Newspapers, in order to see this basis of analysis comparing process and opinion, situated the control of modern democracy. The Catholic Church remained dominant, conflict between him and nature, French Revolution, messianic peace. Adam and Eve repeated this historical process of revelation. Hegel, the theology of transforming plows into economic human facts, it is 3 times a year. Penalize personal stockholders, guiding properly for 16 years the wage rates of Abraham Lincoln. 25 cents of those manufacturing small capitalist expressions of recognition, procedures under which an incentive for work may type up an argument of hourly pay. The problem among union leaders is this deal of proving the number of factories compared to the outsider only taking account of a textile plant's psychological climate. Communities of work, concluding these on the workers' remark, participation in some kind of socialism, unalienated society, much fruitful work has been done here properly. Laws binded to adopt German waste, successfully economic arguments buying into satisfied economic processes. This high and careful number of considering arguments, majority of them wished democracy meant individual poorly informed too. Mothers and fathers shared important culture. Mothers and fathers found German expression profound in this whole modern ritual, impoverished education, attempting Catholic secular rituals, middle of the 20th century, millennium, BC, incapable. I lost my track. God and salvation, man discovering nature. From this, we see closed, short articles, not very different from those who may prove to be the process of ethics. Appetite not for a natural doubt, I protest a young man's original answer. I am a manufacturer. Adopted from few Christian multitudes, name the entire nature of economic activity. Nightmares, dreams afford illustrations, whole products differ either from the depth of Europe or stimulated populations. Discussing the 19th century social life, class became under this height a different view, pretending competitive struggle, desire, experience, development, positive speaking, voice, the child, birth, the reality, bringing, perish, mental illness consisting of a symptom. Most prosperous countries compare only to an expressive lack of problems, ladder, normalcy, Western culture, economic affairs surpass one another. Western world, God, backed up by God, enemies, yesterday, seriousness, let's paint them with appropriate colors. Are we sane? And so, yeah, that was a little fun word exercise with Erich Fromm's The Sane Society. I hope you enjoyed that. That was a mixed bag, some really good phrases in there, some weird stuff, as there almost always is. So, yeah, check me out on Instagram if you want to see more of those, if you want to be able to vote. Today I'm going to let you vote. We're going to do that again sometime soon with either Harlan Ellison, Deathbird Stories, collection of short stories, or Bash Bash Revolution by Doug Lake. So if you want to see either of those made into abstract poetry, just comment which one below. It's actually, I think sometimes it works better with fiction work, although it can kind of retain the narrative they try to imply. I guess it always does. So yeah, Dirt Son of Earth, thank you very much.